Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about righties fighting lefties. Okay, now it doesn't matter if you're the lefty fighting the righty or the righty fighting the lefty. The fight is pretty much exactly the same. Okay, up until now we've been pretty much talking about righty versus righty fighting. Now if you're a lefty fighting another lefty, all that righty on righty fighting applies exactly the same to you. Okay, so the righty on righty fight is exactly the same as the lefty on lefty fight. However, the righty versus lefty fight is a different fight, and I'll explain why. If I'm a righty, okay, I got my shield in my left hand, so on my right hand over here. Basically, I'm holding the shield in this somewhat open position here. I cannot hold this flat, because if I hold this flat, basically the sword, which is on my left side, is going to be able to hit all this stuff over here. Okay, so I can't hold the shield flat. I need to hold it a little bit more open to protect my back and my left side ribs. Okay. Likewise, if the sword is on my opposite side, right, it's not so easy for them to hit all the soft stuff over here. Now there are ways to hit it, and we've talked about it in previous videos, but it takes work to get there. Okay, you gotta do stuff to get here. Okay. Now, in a lefty versus righty fight, or righty versus lefty fight, the swords are on the same side, the shields are on the same side. So if the opposing sword is on the same side and I'm holding my sword like this, all this stuff is easily accessible. And the way I have this shield now set up, this is my lefty shield. Okay, this is not the same shield you guys have been seeing. This is strapped for me to fight as a lefty. That's the shield I've been strapping up there, and this shield here is a retired shield that I use for these demonstrations. But if this right now is set up as a lefty, so he's holding the shield on his right arm and the sword would be in his left arm, and just standing, if he's holding it in an open position like this, all I gotta do is just strike straight down, and I can hit anything along this line. Okay, so basically that's not how you want to hold the shield. You don't want to hold the shield in an open position. You want to hold it flat like this. Okay, and I'm going to rotate this now, so that this is a lefty holding the shield the way they should be holding it against me, which is in a more flat position. Okay. Let me see, did I go too far? There you go. Okay, so as I'm standing in front of them, we're both holding the shields relatively flat. So while they have the shield flat, now I can't just cut straight down and hit stuff. Okay, I need to, I need to do stuff right now. I need to work a little bit in order to be able to hit the body. Okay, so there's four main shots, four main strikes that we use in lefty versus righty fighting. Okay, the first one is the left side Zwerchhau. Okay, left side Zwerchhau. The next one is right side middle how to the leg. Okay. The next one is the thrust over the top into the face. Okay. And the next one is the winker how, which is going to go around both shields and hit the body. Okay. So four main shots. We said the left side Zwerchhau. Okay. Just to demonstrate, I'll do it this way. Left side Zwerchhau. Okay. Right side middle how, thrust into the face, or middle how that goes around both shields and strikes behind their shield. Okay, so those are your four strikes. Now there are some other strikes that you can work in there. For example, if I get the opportunity, I can't throw a shadow how that goes high over the top. If I see that head up there, I can't throw the struts how that's going to come over the top. I can also throw a right side Zwerchhau to the sword, which is going to momentarily pin it and allow me to do a left side Zwerchhau. Okay, so I can use the right side Zwerchhau to pin the sword momentarily, and then do a left side Zwerchhau. I can also do, with a step to the side, I can do a Zornhau to the arm. Okay, because a lot of times the lefty or the righty will float that elbow out a little bit. So with a slight step to the side, you can make a Zornhau, just a diagonal cut to that arm. Okay, so those are your four main strikes. Okay, the bulk of your strikes are going to be the left side Zwerchhau, right side middle how to the leg, the thrust to the head, and then the winker how around, and that can be a winker how to the leg. It can be winker how up high to the head. You know, it can be a winker how into the rib area, okay, or even a winker how to the arm. So because basically you have access, through the use of the winker how, you have access to this whole side over here, okay. So because these shots are somewhat limited, especially when when you start using range, we're gonna have to rely a lot on misdirection and fakes, okay. Now typically when people first start fighting lefty versus righty or righty versus lefty, the two main shots that they will throw is left side Zwirch how to the winker how, back to left side Zwirch how to the middle how, okay. And basically that's okay for a beginner. That basically starts to set up a pattern, and then once you start setting up patterns, basically then it's easy to defeat you. So we want to get away from patterns, and the way we can do is we can simply add a fake in there, okay. So basically I can throw a Zwirch how, fake another Zwirch how, and then throw that middle how, okay. Or I can do using that face thrust is also going to buy you a lot of times and allow you to break up the pattern. So I can throw Zwirch how, thrust, and then throw that winker how, okay? Or start off with the middle how to the leg, and then come up to the Zwirch how, back to the middle how to the leg, okay? Come back, and then now you've set up a pattern where he's probably expecting a Zwirch how, so then just throw the winker how, okay? So because these shots, like I said, are somewhat more limited, you want to you need to come up with creative ways to break up the patterns. Okay, so occasionally throwing a thrust in there will help you break up the pattern. Moving helps a lot. One of the ways is, like, especially when you're stepping around over here, sometimes people, obviously if I start moving around to this side, people are expecting an attack to that side. So as I step this way, I'll throw the Zwirch how way off to the left over there, okay? Or if I throw the Zwirch how here, okay, and then I step back this way, they're probably expecting another Zwirch how there. So throw the Zwirch how here, step this way, and then throw that winker how, as you're moving in that direction, okay? So you're moving in the opposite direction, and throwing the opposite shot of what they're expecting you to throw. Because if you're moving in this direction, they're expecting something on this side, whereas if you're moving on this direction, they're expecting something on that side. So what you can do is, as you're moving in this direction, throw a shot where they don't expect it. Okay, so that's another good thing that you can throw in there. Another thing that I would typically do against the lefty, or if I'm fighting as a lefty against a righty, I will throw the right side Zwirch how, okay? Or, well, right now this sword is in a much lower position, but let's change this to a higher position. So if they're holding this sword a little bit higher like that, so if they're holding a slightly higher guard, but the sword doesn't want to stay there, right? If they're holding a slightly higher guard, what I can do is throw a right side Zwirch how to the sword, which will temporarily pin it for a second, and then come around to a left side Zwirch how. Okay, so you can hit that sword, or if it's lower like this sword apparently wants to be, what you can do is you can throw a Zone how into the sword, okay, and then from there go into the Zwirch how. So beating the sword, okay, what we typically call in fencing beat, where you're just kind of beating it to kind of distract it or get it offline. Beating it will get you opportunities to do other stuff. And it could just be a middle how too. Basically I can throw a Zone how to that sword, come back, and throw a middle how to the leg. The chances are that if I go this way, they're expecting me to kind of move that way. So what they might do, sometimes they might just throw the shield up like that. So that will just create an opportunity to just throw a straight middle how to the leg. So you have to get creative. You got 4 main shots, and there's a couple others that you can kind of work with, and you gotta get creative. The best way to get good at fighting lefties is to fight lots of lefties. You know, now the lefty will, especially early on. Okay, let me put this down for a second. Initially, lefties usually get better faster at fighting righties because to the lefty, 80% of the world is righties. So they're always fighting righties. So they're going to get better at fighting righties. You know, if you're a righty, you're not going to get to fight that many lefties, okay? So if you really want to be good, you got to be competitive. You got to kind of do what I've always done, which is seek out the lefties and fight them and get as much practice out of them as you can. And the other thing I do is I fight as a lefty myself. So by fighting as a lefty, number one, I'm giving my right arm a chance to rest. Sometimes I'll fight 2-3 times a week. So by fighting as a lefty, I'm resting my right arm and still fighting, right? Still getting the benefit and experience out of fighting. And you know, and also by fighting as a lefty, I kind of learn what lefties can do. So then when I fight as a righty against a lefty, you know, I know what to expect. Now that, you know, that goes back about 15 years. Okay, at this point I already know what they do. About 15 years ago, that's how I learned how to fight lefties well. I fought as a lefty myself, and that moved me forward really fast. Okay, now let's talk about bucklers for a second. So we'll switch the position of this thing. Okay, so with the buckler, or the nice thing about a buckler or any center grip shield is that you can quickly change it. Okay, so you know, you don't need a second shield like I have this, like a separate shield for fighting as a lefty. If I want to fight as a lefty with the buckler, that's no big deal. I just switch arms. So here's the thing with the buckler, because I have the smaller defense, and basically all of my strikes are coming more or less through that center line. The difference is a lot less, okay? Because especially with the buckler, let me turn this a little more to the side. Because I have the smaller defense, what I find is that, and that's back to righty, or righty versus lefty now. Because I have the smaller defense, I pretty much need to bind my sword against their sword initially. Okay, so it doesn't make a difference if that sword's on the left side now. I'm in the same position where basically I need to bind it, and I'm working through the center. You know, so you know, so that's not going to make a difference. So even if I switch to the other side, okay, you know, I have the same deal. I'm going to bind that sword, you know, and thrust through. You know, the fight doesn't change that much. You know, because when you have a full size shield and a sword, the shield pretty much controls the center line, okay? So you're fighting around the shield, so the angles are very different, okay? When you have the buckler, because with the buckler's not really controlling the center line. The sword is controlling the center line, okay? You know, the sword was controlling the center line. So it doesn't matter whether it's in my right hand or my left hand, okay? The sword's what's really controlling the center line. You know, if I combine the sword with the buckler, then I can free myself and attack. So fighting with a buckler, you know, righty versus lefty, there's less of a difference. There are some differences, you know, yeah, especially when somebody manages to bind somebody's sword with their buckler, because then the incoming attack, you know, is going to be from the opposite side of what you're expected to. However, at that point, you know, when the sword is bound up, you know, at that point you're going to die anyway. So that's, you know, basically, it makes more of a difference before you get to that point, you know, where you're kind of struggling to control the center. Okay, that's where it really makes that difference, you know. So that's why I say, you know, when you're fighting with a buckler, whether you're lefty or righty, it's less of a concern. It still needs to be practiced. You still need to get good with it, but it's not like fighting with a full-size shield. Okay, so that all said, if you guys have any questions or comments, you know, anything that you want to add to this, by all means, please do so. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a member, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys next time.